Welcome to the Wealth Initiative. Side hustle culture. I'm Garrick LeNoir, financial strategist who helps real people build real wealth without the confusion. So if you're ready to get some real straight answers on how to build wealth, you're in the right place. I'm here today with my son, Garrick LeNoir. Welcome, Garrick.
Hi, thank you for letting me be here. I'm happy to be here.
All right. So, thousands of people today have side hustles. They do everything from creative t-shirt designs to clothing to services that they provide on the side for people. And it is truly a side hustle culture that we're in today. But before we dive into that, we always like to start with Ask Terry. But now we're going to ask Garrick. So Garrick has a question that was posed by someone that he knows. Garrick, take it away.
Well, I was asked by my friend Romel, if I wasn't in my current field, what else do I think I would do and why? And honestly, I don't think I would do anything else. I think my current field right now is exactly where I want to be. I have the opportunity to make a decent income for myself, a great income actually, and I'm also helping people at the same time. And that's a big caveat that a lot of people have when it comes to getting some high paying job, is that you run the risk of doing either dirty or immoral things to keep that job. And, that's a big worry with a lot of people when it comes to big high paying jobs. So I think I'm exactly where I need to be.
All right. Well, very good. Very good. All right. So we're going to actually have Garrick go ahead and lead our conversation on the side hustle culture. And what do you have for us?
Well, with services like DoorDash, Uber, Lyft, there's a development of a side hustle culture that a lot of people just really seem to follow. It seems like a lot of people have developed more than one stream of income because there's 168 hours in a work week. And assuming that 40 of those hours are used for your regular job and you sleep 8 hours each day, that's still about 72 hours left of free time that you could work another job in order to provide another stream of income. Of course, you'd be stressed out of your mind, but you would have more income to better provide for yourself.
Okay. All right. So in that, with Gen Z and the side hustle culture, why are Gen Zs leaning into the side hustle culture? There's things like the rising cost of living.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the biggest factors. The average apartment around, say, like Vallejo or Fairfield can range from $1,500 to $2,000 a month. So that requires a decent income to make your monthly rent. And obviously your cost of living will be affected with that high rent. And obviously the cost of getting a home is no better. The rate at which a home prices increase is not proportionate to the inflation rate over the past couple decades. So that's why it's harder and harder for people to own homes. That's why you have the average age of kids moving out of the house just being higher and higher, because people just aren't able to get a home for themselves.
Understood. And so also we have some of the Gen Zs have distrust in traditional jobs.
There is a really big distrust because kind of like how we mentioned in the last episode that we did together, bosses don't necessarily care for their employees all that often. You could have a situation where you need to go to an important family event because there's maybe an emergency, but your boss really doesn't care, right? And then there's all situations where people maybe are promised promotions if they do well, so they're promised a pay increase only for them to pass that off to someone else because they realize that if I trick my employee into thinking he's going to get a pay increase, he'll work harder and be more productive, and I'll get more out of him, and then I'll just say, oh, well, it's just not the best time to give you that promotion right now, but next time for sure, right? Managers and bosses have proven themselves to be very untrustworthy a lot of the times.
All right, and there's also a talk about the desire that Gen Zs have, and we talked about this before: freedom, control, right? To be in control of themselves, and freedom to be able to grow their income the way they intend and not have to worry or have a boss in control of that.
Right. It mainly just boils down to like not even just freedom of like say going to Cancun every couple months or something, but it's just as simple as having the freedom to say go to your kids baseball game, or do something for your wife if she really needs it, like an emergency, right? A lot of people need that freedom because they realize things come up in life and they have to make sure that they have the freedom to take care of that. I mean, me and my brother had a lot of sports games growing up, and you and mom made sure that you had the freedom to make sure you were there for almost all of them.
Right, right. Yeah, that's a big deal. That is a big deal. There's also this culture, this idea with social media that everyone's winning, right? I mean, you see the post, and everyone look like they're winning, and so that does that create additional pressure to try and, I guess, be like the Joneses and make sure you're winning.
I would say so. I would also say it's not just watching people on social media, but it's also because I think a lot of people realize when they watch social media that majority of what you see is maybe about 20% of that person's life at the time. So it's not fully indicative of what their daily life is like. But there's also people just watching other celebrities, and they know like they have multiple streams of income. You have celebrities like Kevin Hart or Shaquille O'Neal, right? They don't just get money from their main source of income or what they're mainly known for. Shaq being a basketball player, Kevin Hart being a comedian, but Kevin Hart does movies. He did TV shows. He was producing. I think he was also on Shark Tank for a couple seasons. That's all streams of income for him. And even if it's like he only did it for a season, every time they play that episode on the air, he gets money from that.
Right, right.
And Shaq even became one of the managers for Sac State's basketball team. Stingers up, go Sac State. But yeah, we see the celebrities making a whole lot of money just having multiple sources of income, and we see them as the most free people on the planet. Not necessarily true, because celebrities often they just work high paying jobs, but it is true that there is some degree of freedom that a lot of other people do not have.
Right, right. Okay. So what I'm getting from that is that Gen Zs aren't lazy. They're actually working a lot more than before, and more than what individuals realize. So it's just they work a little different, right? Do you believe that your friends have a pressure to have a side hustle?
A lot of them, yes, because they realize that in order to maintain their current lifestyle, they really have to grind out and just work really hard in multiple sources of income, work multiple different places. Because a lot of my buddies in college, like they had multiple jobs, right? They worked some hours at, say, a Nike outlet store, and then they worked nights at some club or some bar, right? I have a good buddy of mine who works at a couple different club venues, and he gets decent money, and he is stressed out of his mind sometimes, but he makes a decent living. He's able to buy a Tesla for himself.
Right, right. So I guess the next question is, that side hustle mentality, that extra income, those extra streams of income, is it creating freedom or is it creating stress?
Both. I would definitely say both. Because it creates freedom with you're more free to buy the things that you necessarily like need in life, or the things that you want in life. Like if you need to make repairs in your car, sometimes your job won't be able to fully provide for that because of just how much income, say, goes to your rent or your mortgage or other things like that. But if you have the side hustle, then you do have a little extra money to kind of like a little margin of error when it comes to your money, right? But it also creates stress because, okay, I work 40 hours a week for this one job, and then I spend all my evenings where I have to wake up super early to do this other thing just to make sure I make ends meet. it's a little stressful for people.
Okay. All right. Understood. So, what is something that the older generation maybe misunderstand when it comes to Gen Z and work?
I definitely think there's a certain level of disconnect between the older generations and Gen Z, because one thing that they always like to say, that I've seen a lot of them say, is, oh, well, I just pulled myself up on my bootstraps and I worked hard and I was able to buy myself a house. But they don't fully realize that your house cost $26,000 and your single income was able to fully pay for that house and provide for your wife and your three kids. That's no longer possible today, right?
So we're talking older generation because
Yes, but the values of that older generation are put onto the Gen X and like the older millennials,
Okay.
and then they all end up coming at the younger millennials and the Gen Zs about the same thing when they don't fully understand, like, things are completely different now.
Okay. All right. Things are different, but at the same time, they are the same, right? And so, what I'm hearing in that is that side hustles aren't the problem. They aren't the issue. The issue is more so, it sounds like, a plan, right? And a strategy with the things that you want to accomplish and income levels that you want to hit, right? Having a plan to get there, right?
I would say mostly. Some people, they just work like another part-time job along with their full-time job, and there's no real plan alongside that. They're just like, I'm just working a couple different jobs to make sure I make ends meet. There are some people that try to develop their own stream of income or business. I know a couple people that they work a regular job, but they also work as, say, a hairstylist, or they work doing nails or something like that, right? A lot of people that I know are trying to develop these streams of income for themselves because they're like, well, my job doesn't really provide everything I need.
Yeah. And so those have always been side hustles that individuals have done over the years. I mean, even back, you know, when I was young, in the early 90s, someone doing hair, doing nails on the side was a side hustle. There were other things that individuals did as side hustles as well, such as, you know, burning CDs for people, right? So
Coaching jobs.
there was the whole thing of I need music, right? I want to play this music in my car, and if you didn't have you didn't have CD burners, right? You didn't have that ability, so someone could say, hey, I'll burn these CDs for you. I'll make this music, and that was a side hustle. I built computers for people, right? So that was a side hustle where either I'd put together a desktop for them, or if they had a laptop and they needed to upgrade the software, we do that, and that created side hustles. But having a scalable income stream that is not only scalable to increase the income, but also put yourself in a position to have that income be passive and residual creates a great opportunity. Do you agree?
I definitely would say. I think one of the main issues when it comes to the side hustle culture in today's generation is that it becomes less of a indication that someone is just a go-getter, or that someone is just really trying to make sure they have a lot of money for themselves, and it's more so become a necessity. And I think that's the main issue right now, because side hustles, they can be good. I definitely will say that. But I think the main issue is that a lot of people, they need that side hustle in order to even feed their kids.
Okay. Talk a little about, just kind of what we just touched on, creating that, even if you start at as a side hustle, but creating that residual income, that passive income, right? I mean, you're working on getting your investment license, and to be able to build that income and have that income be, you know, continuous for the rest of your life. that creates great freedom. Talk a little about that, especially for Gen Z. I mean, if there's some Gen Zs out there that are wondering, how could I get into, creating passive income?
I would say find a way to have your stream of income, like build that money and generate that income without you needing to be there. Right. So if you're, say, building a business, right, or you're trying to build a team that will work for you, you need to train and develop them and develop a system where it will operate without you being there.
Okay.
Right. And that creates that passive income that a lot of people talk about.
Okay. And so Warren Buffett actually said, if you don't learn to make money while you're asleep, you'll work until you die. So how difficult is it to actually create a business that can generate passive income as well as, income, override income that works, through a system where you're working with individuals and building businesses? How difficult is that?
I would say very difficult. A lot of people that have built these successful businesses, a lot of them, they have to learn everything on their own. Of course, there's many books nowadays that try to tell you the ins and outs of building a business, but you really won't learn everything until you have to step out in that field and really walk through that fire yourself. And I think that a lot of people don't fully get that until they have to experience it, because they'll see celebrities, like the creator of Walmart, the creator of Amazon, right? And they'll be like, oh, well, they just developed something and it came right out of the sky for them. And no, that's not true. It took many years. It took them starting from nothing, and it took them believing in themselves and people around them believing them and watching them in order for them to fully develop everything. And it wasn't all just one shot and then it just happened. No, it probably took multiple attempts to make something work.
Okay. So what are you doing to create those multiple streams of income and that passive income? You indicated that it is difficult. Do you have a system? Do you have something in place that's going to help you and be able to lay everything out for you to follow and build that income?
Well, I am currently working a part-time job at a retail store. This gives me a little bit more wiggle room with things I would like to do with my money. It gives me a little more money to play with. If I want to say maybe take a random trip to LA, which I'm doing later this year, that gives me the money to do so. But I also understand that the ultimate goal is to develop a passive stream of income, a large passive stream of income from my agency that I'm building, trying to get my investment license. So right now I just have to pass the exams. I've already taken them a couple times. I didn't pass, but I'm not going to let that stop me. I just have to keep going until I pass. And once I do and I get my investment license, then it's just a matter of going out and doing, closing business with those clients. But at the same time, I'm also going to be building my team and finding people that also want to generate income like me, and I'll teach them what I know, and then they're going to get the same license that I have. They're going to do the same work that I do, and we're going to build a functioning team that will do all that stuff together at different places. That way we're generating income from multiple different parts of, say, Northern California or from across the country, closing businesses all over, and it's just going to generate that large wealth. And while I'm building my team, I'm going to encourage that they will also build their team so that they can also have that large flow of income and that passive income. But I also understand that I do have immediate needs. I have immediate wants. Like if I need to refill my gas tank, I definitely need to make sure I have money available right then and there to do so. So that's why I have the retail job. But it also helps with my motivation because, one, it gets me up out of bed every day, and it helps motivate me to realize I got to build this thing now because I don't want to stay working at this retail job.
Yes, understood. And that's great. You have put yourself in a position where you're working toward building this. what's your, say, 2 to 5 year income goal, and where do you see yourself being in the next 2 to 5 years?
In the next 2 to 5 years, I would say it's actually broken down between 2, 3, and 5. So in the next 2 years, I hope to be making 150K a year. And then by year 3, 250K. By 5 years, 300K. I'm hoping that with the work that I'm putting in now, I can at the very least by next year be just hitting that 6-figure income, right? Because we definitely have a convention happening next year, and I would definitely like to walk across that stage.
Yes, that will be incredible. Our 50th year convention, and it's going to be incredible. So, in closing, do you have any final thoughts?
I would say if you are interested in a additional stream of income or additional side hustle or anything like that, looking to make a couple extra thousand every month, you definitely just need to reach out to the right people. You can always reach out to me. And I can tell you everything that I know. And then, if you have questions about that, I would definitely say we could help develop something for you. And also just understand that if you're trying to develop something really big for yourself, even if it starts as a side hustle and it's going to grow into something big, it will take a lot of work and you will fall on your face a lot.
Okay. So having a mentor, a coach, obviously that's important, right?
Yes.
Okay. So if you are a person who's looking to create additional income, find a side hustle that, is professional, tell them how to get in touch with you, Garrick.
I would say you can reach out to me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is Garrick LeNoir Wealth Initiative, all one word. You can also reach out to our Facebook group, which is titled The Wealth Initiative. From there, you'll be able to ask more questions about the topics that we have talked about both today and in previous episodes. And you can also reach out to us for maybe a one-on-one session if you're really trying to get things started, maybe need a little bit of mentoring or coaching.
All right. Well, very good. So I appreciate you taking the time. It was great spending this time with you, talking a little bit about Gen Z, the side hustle culture, and the idea of creating multiple streams of income. So I thank you. I look forward to speaking with you again. And we're excited for you to learn how to create massive passive income for yourself. Terry LeNoir with the Wealth Initiative, where we create wealth for people. Thank you.